Today we're going to be taking a look at the Bridgehead Strike Detachment. Now this is the brand new way to run your Astra Militarum. If you like all your elite infantry and your drop troops, your Tempestus Scions, then you are going to love this detachment. We're going to look at the stratagems, the enhancements, and also some of the key combinations that will make this detachment work. So let's take a look at this detachment and see if this is the new way to run Astra Militarum competitively.
Coming up is going to be an overview of the brand new detachment that Games Workshop have been releasing for Warhammer 40,000. We're going to look at whether this detachment is going to be a competitive choice, whether it's going to be one that's more flavorful and narrative, and maybe something that you might want to consider trying yourself, or alternatively, what you need to know and look out for if you're going to be playing against some of these new detachments. Now, to take things a little bit further, on our members page, and if you want to become a YouTube member, the link's going to be in the description. You are going to get a list for this detachment, something that's super competitive, super flavorful, and we're going to make the most of what we can do with this detachment. Now, as we always say, we will try and help you use the models that you own, and we're going to give you some top combos that you can introduce into your list to really make the most of them. Now, not only that, but you're also going to get loads of additional members content, whether it's our live members lounge where you can get your questions answered, or even dictate our games that we play on streams on Fridays. And on our masterclass series, we go one step further. We show you the list, we show you how to deploy it, and we also show you some advanced tactics. And the best thing about that is that you're going to understand exactly how every single faction plays in the game of Warhammer 40,000, so you don't get caught out at the tabletop. We're all about helping you feel like you're able to compete at the table, and knowing all that information is going to be one of those steps to ensure that you don't get gotcha momented. So enjoy this detachment overview, and we really hope and look forward to your feedback and some of the best ways to play this detachment.
It's time to take a look at the Bridgehead Strike Detachment from the Grotmas Advent calendar. So before we do that, a massive thank you to Games Workshop for sending this to us early so we could preview it for all of you lovely people. Michael, what did it do?
So the Astra Militarum have a new detachment to play with, ahead of course, their incoming codex. Now, GW did say that these Advent detachments would be valid for the codexes as well, so what we'll cover here, it may or may not be relevant by the time that the codex comes out, so bear with us. However, as it currently stands, there's only one way to play Guard. Now there is a new way to play Guard, and boy oh boy is this a cool way to play Guard. This is all about your elite infantry, and very specifically your Tempestus Scions. So, the detachment rule, Jake, is only the best.
Oh, that's a very generic quote. You can think it sounds like just like a 60s film now. Right, what does that do?
So all of your infantry models, reroll 1s to hit.
Okay, yeah, that is pretty good. But only for the best.
Only the best.
Right. Cool.
Except it's everybody that's infantry.
Yeah, because everyone's the best.
So everyone's the best.
Yeah.
Look, we only have the best in the Guard.
Yeah.
So this means, this is obviously great on your Kassakin. This is great. It works on Ratlings and Ogryn as well, because they're all infantry.
Yes, weirdly, yeah.
Yeah. You've also got your Field Ordnance Battery, your Heavy Weapons Squad.
Nice.
So you've got a couple of different avenues to explore, whether the reroll ones help some of your indirect actually do a bit better, because you don't need the support of the Scout Sentinels. So it's going to help those guys. It also, of course, help things like Death Corps and Krieg, which get +1 to hit below starting strength, so they are actually hitting on 3s, rerolling 1s, just like a lot of the other elite infantry. Not as impactful on Scions, because they reroll 1s to hit base anyway, and then reroll all hits against people on objectives. And then, of course, you've got Aquilons, another form of Scions who will get the reroll 1s to hit.
Okay, nice. So yeah, that seems like a pretty good detachment rule overall. Is that it?
No, that's not it. So Tempestus Scions units, when they're set up or disembark from a transport, they get +1 to wound for their subsequent shooting attacks.
Okay, well that is pretty good, isn't it? So we do normally see a lot of the Scions unit, like the big Scion brick in the current sort of index way of playing Guard. You know, with the 10-man, with the command squad, like that just makes that unit even better now, right?
It does, and you're going to see 3 of them in this detachment because they are much better.
Yeah.
Landing and getting +1 to wound counteracts the fact you don't have lethal hits anymore. Because that was the big thing about some of these units. You'd get lethal hits against non-vehicle, non-monster. Now you get +1 to wound against everything.
And they reroll, so they reroll 1s to hit, and then if they're on an objective, they reroll all hits or something?
That's right.
Yeah,
yes.
so like double whammy there, really.
And
that's pretty good.
As it's a command squad, they'll get sustained hits 1 as well. So reroll hits, sustained hits, and then +1 to wound. Very powerful little deep striking bricks.
Yeah, like that could just muller a unit, right?
Absolutely. And there is an avenue to explore having them in Orks primes, which if they disembark and the Orks prime shoots something, they get reroll wounds as well.
Okay.
So you now have reroll hits, reroll wounds.
+1 a wound.
+1 a wound. Sadly, though, if you did want to run the command squad and put them in the Orks, you'd have to run just 5 Scions. So realistically, you're probably going to see 3 bricks that deep strike and some units of 10 that jump into your transports. Another thing that is included in this detachment, it's also on the data sheet, but the Tempestus command, if it's your warlord or a Tempestus command unit has your warlord in it, you get Battle Line Militarum Tempestus Scions.
Oh, fantastic. Okay.
Not Aquilons, just Scions.
Okay. That's pretty good, though.
And they get OC2.
Oh, okay. Well, even better then. So this very much is really about taking, like you said, Scions, which I think a lot of people have been sort of crying out for. I know a few people in our local area, at least, do enjoy playing predominantly Scions in their Astra Militarum armies. So it's cool to see this is getting rewarded.
Yeah, exactly. Now, obviously, got a bit of a points hike in the recent balanced data slate, which I think is probably fair.
Yes.
They are very efficient units. But yeah, the detachment rule is good. And I think if you want to run the elite infantry, it is just better than the index detachment rule.
So let's have a look at the enhancements next. So what is the first one?
It's the Bombast class
The what?
Vox array.
The Mr. Bombastic class.
Bombad
Bomber.
class.
Very good. What does this do?
Okay, so it's actually an auto-include enhancement.
Oh, okay, cool.
You always take this. So it's Tempestus Scions Command officer unit only. And what you get is if you've got a Master Vox in the unit, which you definitely take, the Master Vox allows you to do the orders at 24.
Yeah, you definitely take them.
If you've got a Master Vox in the unit, you can issue an order to up to 3 regiment units.
And how
instead
many?
Of 1.
So normally you just get 1, and this is now
normally
tripled.
1. This is now tripled.
Oh my god. Okay, so that is really, really good actually.
It's very good.
Yeah.
Bear in mind that in this detachment, if you want to really run the detachment, you're probably not taking Lord Solar because he is required to be Warlord.
Okay, so
you wouldn't get the battle line Scions.
Yeah, so in this detachment, you sort of get your own version of Lord Solar.
Yeah.
In the form of 5 dudes and a flag.
Yeah, a bombastic commander.
Yeah, they could all maybe form a horse and like that. Yeah, so that's really interesting. Then I do actually, yeah, I completely agree. That's definitely an auto include and also a very good enhancement of that.
Yes, yeah. And what makes this doubly good is that the command squad can have a piece of equipment that allows them to be affected by 2 orders at once. Their unit.
Wow. Okay.
And with this guy being able to drop down, and then at the end of the phase you can do your orders, you can now issue 2 to your own unit, and then issue 1 to another unit that has a command already in it, that has issued themselves 1. So across 2 command squads with this enhancement, you can have both squads with double orders.
Which is great, isn't it?
Which is immense, because that's an extra shot on everybody with first rank, second rank, and take aim means you're going to get 2s to hit.
And you're re-rolling 1s.
Re-rolling 1s or everything, potentially.
And +1 a wound.
And +1 a wound.
Ooh.
They're pretty grim Scion bricks. They're very good, very tasty.
Yeah, don't know if I really want to come up against that personally, but let's hope the rest of the enhancements sort of keep on this good trend. What's the next one?
Priority Drop Beacon.
Oh, these all have such over-the-top names.
Yeah, they
I
do,
love it, yeah. Right.
So this unit, it can arrive via Deep Strike in turn 1.
Okay, that's great, isn't it? Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Make sure you screen.
Yeah.
Because this is a horrible turn 1 deep striking unit.
Yeah, I was going to say, like a big unit, like they're pretty good from turns 2 and 3, so having it turn 1 is really good. And would you say another auto include, would you say? Or?
Yeah, I would, yeah. I think just the threat of this is very good. And even though you only get the 1 order from the command squad that's deep striking, you can disembark from a transport, and because it's all done at the phase, the person disembarking from the transport could then issue the second order to the unit that's just deep strike. Yeah. So you could still have the double order going on and the max potential.
Yeah, this just seems very good. It's 2 for 2, Michael.
It's pretty good.
Can we make it 3 for 3?
We certainly can, Jake. It's the Shroud Projector.
Okay, the first not over the top
Number 3. The Bearers unit can't be overwatched.
Okay, well, let's not take too much away from this one. So no Overwatch. This is going to be amazing. Like you have so many units. Like, that's the one threat to things like Guard, is because they're so squishy.
Yeah.
You come down and they just get overwatched and potentially just get a lot of them taken off.
Exactly.
Now we've just taken that all away.
Yeah, it's just not an issue at all for you. So because you're 15, toughness 3, 4-up save bodies, very easy to kill us.
Yeah.
There's many units in the game that are very good at Overwatch, some that have recently been buffed, Furnace Marines. So being able to now just avoid being shot at all is amazing. And actually, if you pair this with potentially a Calidus Assassin, dropping down and making Overwatch 2 in a different part of the board, you can essentially avoid Overwatch in a couple of different places.
Yeah, I really like this, yeah. Very, very good. Right, well, you said you don't think it is an auto-include, but what is the last one anyway?
The last one is Advanced Algary.
Okay, that's not an over-the-top name, so
Yeah.
that's okay.
It's essentially redeploy 3 units or put them in reserve.
Okay, so what I've noticed so far is 2 of the enhancements make your army Lord Solar.
Yes.
And then the other 2 don't. Okay, so it's still useful, but again, like when you have the first 3 red are so great, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Why would you bother taking that? So
Exactly.
it is a shame because in any other detachment that would be considered auto-include, right?
Yeah.
But just because of how good these are anyway, but I think, I don't know, you tell me, but I think they're all great.
Yeah, they're fantastic. They're all really useful in their own ways. You probably won't see the redeploy just because the other 3 are completely auto-include.
Yeah.
And they all work incredibly well with the detachment rule itself.
Yeah.
And as we'll see, stratagems help them too. So these are, you make points space for this. Yeah, very good enhancements.
Yeah. Okay, so enhancements are great, detachment rule's great. What about the stratagems?
So the first stratagem is the Bellicosa drop.
Oh, God, another over-the-top name.
That's the musical term for when the beat comes in.
Yeah.
No, it's not. It's not. So for 1 command point in your reinforcement step, you can pick a Tempestus unit, and they can deep strike 6 inches away from the enemy.
I was going to ask, like, does this detachment have access to this? Because one, it would make sense.
Yeah.
So this is also like to do with the balanced data slate changes of there's no 3-inch deep strike anymore. So the max you can have is 6. Turn 1 6-inch deep strike.
It's pretty good. Isn't it?
It's so good.
Pretty good. However, it does make Aquilons somewhat not worth it.
Because you can just do this with any
You can just do this with a Scion unit that has the full rerolls to hit and wound, and because they're battle line, you can just run 6 Scion units, which is a shame, but it's a very good stratagem. And you could, I suppose, do it in 2 places.
Yeah,
one with Aquilons, one here.
It'll be interesting to see, like, over on the members' side, we do a list for all these attachments. So it'll be interesting to see with that sort of, quoted, that, what you sort of come up with there.
Yeah, absolutely.
Cool. So what is the next stratagem anyway?
Next is Firing Hot.
What a great name.
Amazing.
I actually want to play this attachment just because of all the names. They sound amazing.
So Tempestus or Kassakin unit, you get +1 strength and +1 AP with all of your hotshot weapons.
How many hotshot weapons do you actually get in this big Scion brick then? Is it quite a lot?
Yeah, a fair bit. So one of the special weapons you can take in these units is hotshot volley guns. And these are 4 shots at rapid fire range, and then with the order they go to 5 shots each at rapid fire range. So with the Tempestus brick, you have 15 of these with the hotshot volley, which will now be strength 5 AP 2, 1 damage, rerolling hits with sustained.
Yeah, this is
and +1 to wound.
Yeah.
And then you have 7 or 8 other models that have normal las guns, and that'll be 3 shots each. So you could be looking at 21 plus the 15, and it'll all be AP2 now with +1 to wound.
He's great.
And even Kassakin, it's nice to see Kassakin get a little buff as well.
Yeah, apparently they're not elite enough.
Not
to be
quite.
The elite detachment.
Not quite. But they have about the same amount of firepower from the hot shots. It also affects hot shot sniper rifles, which is cool. So you can get to strength 5 AP3 flat 3 damage.
It's 2 shots now.
Just the 1 shot. Yeah, because it's
you
not
don't get
a
an extra
rapid fire
shot,
weapon, so you don't get the extra shot, sadly. And it won't affect, of course, any plasma or anything else that you take.
It still sits in my snipers list of that don't actually kill characters. So which is a tier list coming soon as well. Right, what's the next stratagem?
Fire and relocate. 1 CP. Don't worry, it's not what you think it is.
I was about to say.
Because that would be so incredibly strong.
Yeah.
What it is, though, is you can advance and still shoot.
Okay.
excluding Titanic. So it actually works on anything, but not Titanic.
So it's a bit of a weird one, right? Because you'd think that it's fire and fade.
You'd expect them to be able to move after they've shot. Thankfully, that's not there.
But it's just funny, then fire and relocate.
No,
it's actually relocate and fire. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, very good anyway. Like you basically get assault, and you know, like you were saying with these combos of like having these big units of scions in a Orks, you could always super get them out, cut the angle, do all that. Well, like you said, you could do it on anything. So like your Lehman Russes, you could do this on. Yeah.
Exactly. Lehman Russes, Dawns could do it. Dawns could do it. That's kind of cool. Yeah. You could do it with like Hellhounds to strip cover and stuff. You could do it on anything basically. What you could do as well is the normal Tower Rocks can advance and then you can still disembark.
Oh, okay.
So you could advance it, still shoot with it, and then the unit that disembarks could also shoot. And the tower with the Chimera going up in points with the balanced data slate, Tower Rocks start to look a bit more usable. So I could definitely see Tower Rocks and Kassakin in normal Tower Rocks being a thing.
They're also like on a different day. They're also like quite a small footprint, aren't they?
Yeah.
They're like they're like the Sagitt. If you're familiar, they're like a Sagittar equivalent, which means they could just hide super easily, and you could put multiple on things. There's a whole other ball game, but
and they're very fast.
Yeah, I like it. Right, what's the next one?
Servo Designators is the next one. This is 1 CP. They've all been 1 CP so far, in case I haven't mentioned that. So this is 1 CP shooting phase after an infantry unit has shot an enemy unit. If you hit the enemy unit, they can no longer get cover against the rest of your army.
Okay, well that's great, isn't it? Like you just spoke about how good the Hellhound is with that, and now you've just got an ability to do it.
So don't take the Hellhound
Anywhere. Yeah, so.
This is great with a mortar team.
Yeah, I was just about to say.
It doesn't have to be visible.
Don't have to worry about overlapping fields of fire. We've got ignore cover.
We've got servo designators.
Yeah. It's quite funny. So already I'm noticing in this theme is like the index is like all the things that you would take. Hellhounds, Lord Solar, we've got you.
Yeah, you're covered.
In the forms of stratagems and enhancements.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's really interesting. I do like it.
How do we get people to stop playing this horrible stuff?
Yeah.
Well, let's just give them different horrible
Make
stuff.
them take 60 scions.
60 scions.
With stratagem support and enhancements. So you don't need to buy these models. You just buy points.
Next is aerial extraction. So this is a cool one. It's not as cool as it could have been. But for 1 command point, at the end of your opponent's fight phase, you can pick a Valkyrie or a Tempestus unit that has deep strike, and you can pop them back into strat reserves.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, I wish it was
Yeah.
or, because it would have been cool for the Valkyrie to have a purpose.
Well, yeah, because you'd also think if it's like an aerial extraction, it just also leave.
No, their jetpacks go in. They just go back up.
Yeah. Something like that.
Something like that.
Yeah.
They get picked up and then leave.
Yeah. It's like Fire and Fade. It's not Fire and Fade.
No, it's not Fire and Fade. But
yeah, like you said, it could have been better. But equally, it's a cool
So I don't want to be down about it. I just wanted the Valkyrie thing to be cool.
Yeah.
However, uppy down with scions is incredible.
Yeah.
Absolutely insane.
Well, yeah, because they're already amazing.
You get to go back up, come back down with +1 wound, do your 2 orders, and just shred something else.
Yeah.
Potentially 6 inches away from your enemy. Potentially not being overwatched. Potentially drop 3 orders when you drop down. It's crazy strong.
Yeah, like you can go down turn 1, shoot something. Hopefully your opponent can't really do anything about it.
Yeah.
Take it up.
Leave.
Put it down.
Drop back down later.
This is already like not only does the cool thing about this attachment is not only does it sound fun, it also is interesting.
Yes.
Because it's some of like I do love the Scion models as well.
Yeah.
I've always loved models, but yeah. Cool. Well, what is the final stratagem then?
For 1 command point, at the end of your opponent's fight phase, you pick a regiment infantry unit that is in combat with the enemy.
Right.
And you roll a 2+ for each enemy unit in engagement range of your unit. And they take D6 mortal wounds.
What?
And then afterwards, your unit takes 3d3 mortal wounds.
Okay. That's pretty cool. It's pretty strong as well, actually.
Yeah.
Like, because if you like, now, okay, we got a caveat with a few things. Like these are guardsmen at the end of the day, so they may not be the most durable little soldiers. But like, if your opponent's just like, oh yeah, just charge a few things on there. If you've got 1 guy left,
Yeah.
and he's going to die anyway, he's like,
Cool, everybody in combat with me, you're taking D6 mortal wounds.
yeah, like That's amazing.
Yeah.
That's so cool. And like, also on my position, what a cool name.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love this one. In terms of competitive use, Kriegsman, so Death Courts of Krieg,
Oh yeah, of course.
with the Marshal, get a 5-up Fun of Pain, so you'll get the 5-up against the 3d3 mortals that you take.
Well, this is the thing. You've been using this
Yes.
loads, right?
Yeah, and you've got this 20 model unit that people do try to kill, especially in combat.
Yeah, and it's like I've played against this unit, and it like honestly don't think you can just kill it because I think I threw like a Lord and some Legionaries at it, and they kill most things in the game, as you know.
Yeah.
And they only killed like 10 of them.
Yeah.
And there's another 10 in Marshall, and bringing models back, and
Yep, and I'll do the D6 mortal wounds to you. Why wouldn't I?
yeah, of course you would.
And it's such a big unit as well. You can sort of trap enemy units like vehicles in combat. So at the end of your opponent's fight phase, because they can't leave, you then just on my position, bring it in.
Yeah. Imagine if you just managed to tag laser stuff. And they were like, "Oh, I can't fall back. I've got to shoot my way out." And if they don't shoot their way out, it's like, "Oh no."
What I also like is, in order to stop Guard doing what they want to do, people often, as a tactic, will tie up their infantry units. So a tank might tie up some infantry, and you're like, "Well, actually, I'm just going to call in an artillery strike on my position and do mortal wounds to you, because my guy's not doing anything next turn anyway."
Yeah.
So I think it's quite a good stratagem.
It is. Yeah, I agree.
It'll just be a bit random.
Situational, but great when it is needed.
Yeah.
But overall, what are you thinking? Because I think this is a pretty cool detachment.
Yeah, I think this is an awesome detachment. The Scions obviously are going to slap in this detachment. They will hurt a lot of different enemy units, and with the +1 to wound, they'll even hurt tanks. So you don't need to worry too much about having the fire support from friendly vehicles. You can kind of lean all in on the elite infantry, and the durability of Guard infantry is far better than anyone really gives them credit for, because you have the ability to give yourself take cover. So all your Scions essentially have 3-up saves if you give them that order, and then of course you can go to ground. So now you've got a 3-up save with cover, which is going to protect you against most of the firepower that is coming your way. So I think it's a very, very good detachment. I don't know that it's going to explode into the meta. However, it's very, very intimidating, I think.
Yeah, 100%. I think this is sort of giving me the vibe of, yes, I agree with your point of that you may not necessarily see this all the time, but it's a very strong contender, and it could be a few things go a few ways. And if Guard got nerfed a bit more, and a lot of those units you're seeing in the index are in the index detachment, like as it currently stands, like if they're maybe not as good, and then this detachment is really good, then you may see that.
Yeah. I think this is one Guard players will immediately jump on. Most Guard players have a decent amount of elite infantry anyway, because they have been very good this edition. And with obviously a number of different nerfs and the points increase to Lord Solar, by cutting 150 points out of the list from Solar, we can now afford to take more Scions. So I definitely think we'll see competitive play with this list.
Which is absolutely fantastic. Right, so thank you very much, Michael, for that. Now, over on our members side, as we've mentioned earlier in the video, we are going to have a list for this detachment. So if you are a member, you can go check that out and see what Michael's conjured up with all these sort of ideas. Spoiler alert, it probably has 60 Scions in. Don't answer that. And yeah, so if you are a member, we'll see you there. And if not, then I'll just catch you in the next video, I guess.